Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, thank you for coming to my name is Luis Pulido of the Belmar Public Library. Welcome to this time's Author Time with Phyllis Mitchell and her book, Believe Do You. Okay, we're happy that you came in. I also want to welcome everyone watching on our live stream here on Facebook. The video of this will be posted on our website later on afterwards. So when you get a chance, stop on up, check some flyers for upcoming events and so on. But without further ado, let me pull it over to Phyllis.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for coming out today. So, I'm not going to talk about me just yet. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Everybody up for that? Mm-hmm. So, by a show of hands, who's always been fascinated by psychics, intuition, medium? Okay, honest. Okay, very good. All right, some people. Somewhat, okay, be honest. Has anyone been read by a psychic? Show of hands. Okay. No? Okay. All right, two. Now, I'm showing my age because back in the day, I would go to psychics and I would record them, but I would record them on a cassette tape. Everybody remember cassette tapes, yeah. Right? Okay. Now, readings, you know, you can record them on your phone, but back in the day, it was like cassette tapes. Who actually would listen to the tapes maybe once or twice or 3 times afterwards? Okay, we share the same thing. So I would record it, listen the first time. Maybe a year later, I would go back and listen again to see, gee, did any of the stuff come out? Because not everything comes out right away. And even a couple years down the road, I would listen again. So, you know, I would do things like that. But never thinking for a second that I could do any of that. I would always go to psychics myself. So it starts with intuition. Now, what's intuition? Intuition can come to us in different ways, right? Intuition could be, you know, that little inner voice, that guy, I don't know if I should trust him. You know, you kind of hear something, that's one way, right? Another one, you just know. You can't explain how you know, but you just know. Anybody ever experienced that? Right? You just know. Like, you know, I really shouldn't buy that pocketbook. I just know. And a lot of people talk about gut feelings, right? It's like, you know, you meet somebody for the first time and you just, I don't know, I'm getting that funny feeling. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like I can't trust her. I'm getting that feeling, right? Gut feeling. Or dreams. Anybody have dreams that kind of come out, or dreams of people that have passed away? Anyone? Oh, yeah. Yes? Right? Yeah, me too. I would have all of these. But still, never thought I could do anything, just intuition, right? So really, show of hands, do you have any of those? Any? I bet everybody, right? Everybody. Because why? Everybody has intuition, right? Everybody does. Some people just don't pay attention. You kind of, you know, blow it off, oh, well, I don't know. But we all have intuition. But it depends on, well, how far you want to take it. But sometimes it can be so strong, right? Anybody want to share an experience that they've had, whether it be like a dream that came out, or like that gut feeling, or that inner voice? Anybody want to share anything? An experience that you had that came out? Everybody shy today? No? Nobody wants to share?
I don't have anything to share.
No? No? Okay, that's fine. Well, let me tell you about my family. And I have to start with my grandmother. And I start with my grandmother in my book. So my grandmother came from Italy at the sweet old age of 15 for an arranged marriage. Yes. She married the man. He had a grocery store. And my grandmother, well, let me back up a minute, was born with a veil. So in Italian culture, that meant she was a seer. Well, we could call her, back in the day, it was called a fortune teller, back in the day. Now, we'll call them a psychic. Right? So my grandmother, I don't know, she got these tarot cards, and word got around that she could read the tarot cards. And my grandmother also read tea leaves. So, you know, you would drink tea, finish it, and she'd look in the cup, and she could tell fortunes that way. and she would also tell fortune through tarot cards. So growing up, I knew that my grandmother was very gifted, but she was a little bit of a pioneer. My grandmother, later, she opened up her own business. Now, let me just preface this. This was back in the 1900s, when women primarily did not have their own businesses, but she opened up Lena's Tea Room, and she read tarot cards and tea leaves. So a lot of people came to see her, word got around. So that's just a little tease about my grandmother. I write a little bit more about my grandmother in the book, but she kind of started things going with intuition. My mother, her daughter, was very intuitive, and she would love to tell me what friends were no good, what boyfriend was no good, which ones that, I should stay with, and so on. She had great intuition, my mother. My father, though, actually also had good intuition. My father had dreams, though. My father had dreams of, sadly, his brother passed away when he was only 20 years old. He died in a car accident. He would come to my father in dreams and tell him things that my father didn't know, but it was advice for my father. He had that many times, my father. And my father also had dreams about premonitions, and they would come out. So between my mother, my father, and my grandmother, we were surrounded by intuition. My sister was very intuitive. My sister, like the sixth sense, could see dead people. Like, say you're sitting here or you're sitting here, she could see them like that. Didn't scare her, would have scared me. Yeah. I didn't want to see people like that. So she could do that, but she was never interested in, tarot cards or anything like that, but she was great at giving advice. People would come to her and she would just know things and tell them things, and it really made a lot of sense. So my sister was very good that way. My brother, on the other hand, very intuitive. He also had dreams too, of people that had passed away. My brother, early on, liked to, let's just say, gamble a little bit. Play some bets on sports. Not go to the races, but he would play some bets on the sports, and more times than not, it would come out. How about that? So he had some pretty good intuition. And then, my sister and brother, my brother's 15 years older than me, and my sister's 13 years older than me. So, I came, but before I came, my mother wasn't feeling so well, and for some reason she's like, well, maybe I should just go to the doctor. And you have to read what I wrote in the book of when the doctor told her that she was pregnant with me. You've got to read that one because it's quite interesting. So I came along, and maybe I had some intuition, but I never really thought too much of it. I always went to people. I didn't feel that I could read tarot cards or connect with people or anything like that, but I knew I had dreams of people that had passed away, and those gut feelings and that inner voice and so on I had, but still I went to people. But what did I do? Well, I became an accountant. I actually became a CPA, and that's my profession. Well, up until middle age. Middle age, by a whim, I took a class on tarot card reading. So I sat down across from a stranger. The teacher told us, practice on one another. Don't read anything, about, what this card means. Just look at the card and use your intuition. So I sat across from one, total stranger to me. I look at the cards. I start getting a story in my head. So I'm thinking, well, I guess I'm just making up a story. But what happened? I started telling the woman the story, and she starts to cry. And I'm like, oh my God, why is she crying? And she said, everything you're saying is so true. Wow. My son is so jealous of my daughter, and they don't speak, and so on and so on. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I just made up this story. But in effect, it was real. So I realized, oh my gosh, there's something I do have. Just never realized it until then. So I started to pursue it a little bit more and practice on family and friends. And in the book, I talk about that. So it's really very interesting that I was a person that went to someone, but all along I could do it, but just didn't realize it till later in life. Why? Maybe I had more time to focus on it. Before I was married and, raising my family, my kids. So, I don't know, you just never know when. But getting back, I dedicate my book to my family because family is the starting point to our journey of believing, right? They're our first ones, they kind of help us think about, well, what do we really believe in? So my book is stories within a story. I give a lot of anecdotes, about different things that have happened to me. I talk about my family. I talk about influential people. Can you all say that there were different people throughout your life that were quite influential? And I write about that, right? They kind of shape us. They mold us. They help us. They make an impression. And I told you the tarot card story. I'll give you a little brief about how I realized I had mediumship abilities. That was a few years later. I actually didn't go seeking this. I love to read, and I was reading about connecting with people. And for some reason, I thought of this one boy in town, and I go into more detail in my book. And I felt sorry for the boy in town. And I woke up the next morning, and I wrote his name on a piece of paper. And I just started to write and write and write. And before I knew it, I had 4 pages. And I looked at it, and I said, oh my God, these are messages coming from his father who passed away. I had no idea that I could do that, but I did. And then you'll go and see, I had a decision to make. I didn't personally know this boy. I knew of him in town. You know how you know about kids? He was kind of like a great player, right, in a sport. So I knew of him, but then I had to make a decision of what I should do with my writing. So in my book, I explain what I do about the writing. Now I had a couple of choices, and I did finally make a choice. That's part of how I got into mediumship. I also talk about, in my book, not only my experiences, but I want to open up to everybody to really think about, what do you believe in? What are different things that happen in your life that make you believe in certain things, right? And I talk about hope. I think hope is so important for each and every one of us. Another thing I feel that's really important to us is helping. All throughout my life, even as a young girl, and definitely through accounting, and then up into doing readings through tarot card mediumship, helping people is my passion. I love to help people. And now doing these readings, I feel I am helping people. I bring messages through. I give readings that help people. And another big part I feel that people should think about too is giving. I feel very charitable. I always love to give. And part of the proceeds of my book, I will be donating to charities that are very close to my heart. So, like the title says, believe, do you? Well, one part of the believing, theme 1, is believe in yourself and your abilities. I did not for a long time. But then it was proven to me that I did actually have these abilities. And then I started to believe more in myself. But you have to be your authentic self. I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. I was respected for my career. Doing tarot card readings and mediumship compared to being an accountant, totally on opposite ends. If you were all CPAs sitting in here and I started talking about this, it wouldn't go over well, trust me. Follow your passion no matter what. Even though, it was scary for me. I was fearful about letting other people know, right? Being the accountant, and now I'm going to be doing readings. In the very beginning, I used to do readings very far away. I wouldn't do anything close to my house. I didn't want people to know at first because they're they would think, oh, she's crazy or nuts, you know. What is an accountant, you know, doing something like that? And I was a little fearful about my kids too. Would they be ridiculed at school? Like, what's your mother, a nut job? You know, as an accountant, oh, okay. Nobody thinks twice, right? But here she's doing readings, connecting with the dead, talking to the dead, what? So it was hard for me at first to accept it. I was afraid of not being accepted. But then I realized inside I had to be who I really was. I was still the accountant, but I had these abilities that I knew I had to bring out because bottom line, they're meant to help other people. Okay? So another point I want to make is whatever your passion is, whatever you want to do, don't let fear control you. Put it to the side. Be who you truly are and follow your passions. Fear holds us back. Don't let fear hold you back. So, what did I do? Like Nike said, just do it. Fear is the opposite of love. If you feel good about yourself, you love yourself, does it really matter if, you know, Sally or Joe won't talk to you anymore? Oh well, that's their decision, right? I have to be who I am. You can't be fearful. Be who you really are. And I found through our readings, and just in general, love connects us. That's what really connects us. It's love. Really, think about that. Love can come in, you know, different ways, right? But it does connect us all. And I found too, oh, I'm not sure what that. Okay, love lives on. Through my mediumship, when I connect with someone who has passed away, they come through because they still love the person I'm reading for. That's why they come through. They love us. And because they love us, they want to help us. And they give messages to help us. They'll come through and validate who they are. Yes, okay, you understand it's your Uncle Joe or your mom or, you know, whoever it is. And then they see everything. So they might see you're having a little bit of a problem, maybe let's say with your son, and they'll give you advice on what to do. Or maybe, you know, you're having trouble with your back, and they're like, gee, maybe you should try another doctor, or so on. There are messages that come through because they love us and they want to help. And they still want to connect with us. So, believe, do you? The other theme of it is, I feel through my experiences of connecting, our soul lives on. Because there is no way that if I sit down and read for a stranger, I don't know anything about them. Nothing. How I know is because I connect with a person that has passed away, and they send me thoughts, and I get information. That's how I know. Me, Phyllis, I have no idea. If I sit here and say, I wouldn't know what to tell you, just me, it's because they connect with me, and then I can bring the messages forward. They do communicate. I can't just make this stuff up myself. I have no idea. They give us signs. Who has seen a sign from a past loved one? Anyone? 1, 2. Yes? No? 2? 3?
Yeah,
3? Anybody else? They send them all the time. Sometimes we see them. Sometimes maybe we're not aware that the signs are there, but they love to send them. They give us messages. They give me messages to pass along. But has anyone ever dreamt of someone that's passed away?
Yes.
Yes.
Many times.
Yes.
Yes.
Have they given you messages? Sometimes they speak in the dream, sometimes they don't.
No.
But sometimes they do come through and they'll give you messages in the dream.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's how my father used to get messages all the time from his brother. Yeah. So let's talk a little more about messages, right? It's funny. people will say, well, my grandmother spoke Italian, or my grandfather spoke Chinese, or Russian, or whatever. And they're like, well, how can you interpret that? It doesn't matter what they spoke. They give me thoughts. I don't hear a voice, ever. I get thoughts. But I know these thoughts aren't mine. I just know. I know they're not mine. And then they give me thoughts that I can understand. And then I pass along that. So it doesn't matter what language they spoke, that just doesn't come into play. Right? So what I do when I'm doing a medium reading, where I'm trying to connect with people who passed away, I actually type. I'm typing and talking. That just helps me. You know, I'll go there and, Tony, let's say you come here and, you know, I read for you. I start getting the thoughts and I start talking about, seems like your mom is here, you know, and so on. And I'll type and talk, type and talk, type and talk. Within a day or two, I email you everything that I typed. You could also record it, but it's nice to have a keepsake.
Yeah.
It's a keepsake that you can go back. That's just my method. You know, mediums have their own different styles, no good or bad, just different. But that's mine. That just helps me. Personality. I will tell you from my experiences, I've done hundreds of readings. Every single time, the person that's connecting with me, the one that's passed away, I will get their personality. They maintain their personality. If they were funny, trust me, I get a lot of things that are really funny that come through. And they're in the book. I gave little excerpts of them, you know, in the book. I love the funny ones because it's just, I don't know. I just enjoy people who are funny anyway. So it's funny that, you know, they do come through, but they do. I love how they keep their personalities. Yeah, but they do. So you know, maybe though, if Aunt Sally was a little grouchy, guess what? She's going to be a little grouchy again. You know, it's true. So their personalities come through. They give validations. So if, let's say, Uncle Joe had a red Corvette, he might bring up, yeah, you know, it's Uncle Joe with the red Corvette. They'll give different validations, so then you're like, oh my gosh, it really is so-and-so, right? They like to give validation, so you know it's them, and then they'll give messages, and typically a lot of the messages are advice to help you. They're always watching you. They are. Although, you know, I've been told, don't worry, you know, maybe we'll turn our heads sometimes when certain things come up. But anyway, they are watching you, and they truly, truly do want to help. And look, they're at a vantage point because they see everything. Right? So, has anyone received any messages? Meaning, anybody find a penny?
Yes.
Right? Okay. That's a sign from your loved one. Right. Typical feather. Right? Anybody see a cardinal?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Very popular.
Yes.
Those are very, I'll call them popular signs, right? You know, my father sends me feathers. My mother dimes. My sister is, well, pennies, and my mother-in-law quarters. How do I know? I just know, right? And don't you just know, right? When you see a cardinal, maybe it's your father or whatever, right? Blue jays, my father sends me to. Dreams, right? Dreams. There are regular dreams that we know. And then I write about visit dreams. Visit dreams are different than regular dreams. A visit dream is a dream where you're going to feel like that person is actually with you in the dream. It kind of doesn't seem like a dream. It seems like it's actually happening. And then on top of it, you can feel them. I've hugged my mother in a dream. She passed away. I could feel her. So if you can expand your mind, my reasoning of maybe how this could be is we are really with them, but just in another realm. That's one explanation. It could be something totally different. Or you might just say, no, well, it was just a dream. But these dreams just feel different than a regular dream. Anyone ever experienced that? Maybe you haven't. But it's phenomenal because you feel like you're actually with them once again. Electrical, come on, everybody, come on, lights. Playing with the lights flickering, that's very popular, right? That happens a lot. Phone, you have to read the book. I talk about one occurrence that blew my mind. I couldn't believe the phone did it, but it did. TV, anybody, thing strange happened with TV? Right?
TV and phone.
And phone, right?
Or cell phone.
It was my cell phone too. They love to play with electricity because they are energy. And trust me, I don't fully understand it because I don't fully understand how a TV works, but I accept it. But they can manipulate electricity. Right? And I do write about that. I had an occurrence with lights, phones, TVs, and yes, computers. They can affect the computers too. It's electricity. So in my book, I give different anecdotes and so on, but I'm always striving in the book to get you to start thinking, really questioning, about these different ideas of beliefs. So you need to really draw your own conclusions. I even write about a skeptic. There are people that come to me, they're not believers, some are skeptics. So I left the part about the skeptic. So in the book you have to read about him. I just give him some credit. But he ended up still being a skeptic. But made some good points though, very interesting. But each and every one of us has to draw our own conclusions about believing. I can tell you about my experiences, but that's all I can tell you. You have to decide for yourselves what you truly believe. So, next steps will be today. I will do a question and answer. You can ask me anything, raise your hand, and I will answer to the best of my ability. And then after, if you would like, you can purchase my book. It is $10. I will sign it, and I will also answer one question for you intuitively. So if you like that, you can do that as well. And what I want to do right now too is put up my contact information. If you would like a reading, or maybe just ask me some more questions, feel free. You can contact me at readingsbyphyllis@gmail.com. Cell, you can.
Excuse me,
Yes,
is it
sure.
on your card?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have my cards with me too. My cell, you can either call or text me. I have a website. You can look at my website. I'm also on Instagram as Readings by Phyllis. So that is my contact information. And now I will open it up to any questions you may have. Yes. And say your name again. I like it. Anne.
Do you consider it a gift to have this psychic insight, to read tarot cards, to connect with the dead? It's a special gift.
Yes, I feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel it's a gift. I feel that God has given me. I believe in God. I do. I'm not asking anyone else to believe in God, but I believe in God. Every single time that I do a reading, whether it's tarot or medium, I have prayers that both of us say. And every single one relates to God. I feel it is a special gift from God. Just like there are talented actors or athletes. God gives them special talents. Why couldn't God give us a special talent with this? But I do feel it is God-given to help others. That's my main purpose.
I just want to
But I very
add-
much believe in God.
I just want to add that I was a skeptic when I came here, and I have changed my mind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I hope my book even furthers that. But thank you. I think a reading would be phenomenal, because I think that would really, you would get to experience, hopefully connecting with someone who's passed away, or tarot, where we're doing just more advice about, their life. But thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. Yes, and your name?
I'm Sharon.
Hi,
I'm
Sharon.
president of the library here, so
Oh,
I'm
hi,
sorry I'm
Sharon.
late. I had to run here. I had to do a couple of things. Do you do group readings?
Well,
Like
the
small
on-
group?
The only way I do a group reading is I don't, like, let's say, here's a group, right?
Mhm.
I will not stand here and then talk to you, and
Right,
talk to
right,
you,
right.
until
In
I,
front of everyone else.
no, I don't feel comfortable myself.
Mhm.
Many people do, and that's perfectly fine.
Mhm.
Like, I love Long Island Medium.
Mhm.
I love her.
Yes.
You know, she'll do group as
Right.
well. Me personally, like, say you had a party at your house,
Mhm.
and maybe we had this amount of people, and I would individually read everyone, because that's what I feel comfortable doing. I just don't feel comfortable, you know,
Oh, yeah, no, no. I
who's
understand.
taking this, and that's just not me. But plenty of people do that, and they do a very great job at it as well. But it's just,
Mhm.
my preference is not to do that. Thank you for the question. Anyone else have any questions? Yes? No?
Little more.
Louis, yes.
A little more on the faith angle right there. So how do you weave this in with, I mean, you say you believe in God, which is great.
Yes, I do.
So how does this weave in more deeply? Because some skeptics are also going to be people of faith too.
Yes, and that's, people who, yeah, religious people feel, some people feel, well, it's work of the devil, or, you know, Satan's giving you the information, but I don't see it that way at all. And I have to be honest, I'm not very familiar with the Bible, but there are certain stories in the Bible I guess I'm a little familiar with. And in the Bible, they had people who would have dreams, and these dreams would come out. They have prophetic dreams, and that's in the Bible. And they weren't tortured or criticized or whatever for doing that. They were praised for that, right? They had seers in the Bible, and they were revered. So to me, it's hard for me to understand, why do they see it so negatively when in the Bible, you know, people had these abilities and they were revered for it. So, you know, I'm a little perplexed, but I'm very aware of people believing, you know, through the religion. Some religions just don't accept it. So I have to, you know, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying
Honor
to say.
their.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm trying to honor their,
Yeah.
their beliefs. You know, I have to honor that. We might not believe about different things, but I want to honor you for your belief, and, you know, you can honor me for mine. We can agree to disagree.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes, like that. And that's how I look at it. Yeah.
I just want to add that in the Old Testament, we had many prophets.
Prophets, yes.
That's
And
it.
it came
Yes.
to fruition, okay?
Yeah.
In the New Testament, we have saints. They had visions.
They had visions.
They had
yes.
visions.
Yes.
They were proven that they were authentic.
Right, right. There were visions.
Yes.
So why, you know, when we are able to see ahead or things like that, why is that wrong?
Against.
You know, I don't, that's, well, I'm not understanding.
Yeah, it all connects.
It does, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It all connects.
But,
Yeah.
you know, again, it comes back to what each person believes and what you feel comfortable.
Right.
You need to feel comfortable in your beliefs.
Exactly.
And I'm not trying to convert anyone. I just want, what I do want to do is let them question. Think about it. And if you draw your one particular belief in it, that is totally fine. You just think about it. Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Any other
I
questions?
just have a comment.
Your name again?
Lisa.
Lisa.
So to make a long story short, I've done a lot of, I guess, readings, but I've been part of a lot of readings.
Okay, so
along
you've
those-
been to someone
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
years.
for years.
For
You've gone
many,
for
many
readings.
years, for decades.
For decades, right?
And, so, make a long story period, but the
Yeah.
way Anne made me think of this,
Mhm.
I was just like led to it. Do you know what I mean? It was just like today,
kinda
like all of a
drawn.
sudden,
Right.
you're here and
Yes.
it feels good or whatever. So
Right.
I can't say when I started or made a decision, but through that interaction,
Right.
things were true, maybe
Right.
not everything.
Everything, right.
those things that did occur were important for me, and good feedback, let's just put it that way,
Yeah.
good feedback.
And good feedback too.
So to
right.
make a funny story is that
Oh, we love stories.
my ex-husband and I, so I was always on that plane, let's say, or always on that vibration. So my ex-husband was pretty good. I think he was just afraid of it.
Sure.
Some of the reasons why
Right.
people may not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, may be judgmental is because it just gave him an awkward feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But he was okay, so we went to this reading, and it was similar to what you were saying. The lady was from England, it was a big deal and all, and she was on the stage, and who did she pick but my husband?
Oh, your husband! Oh, how funny!
So I was like, oh
That's so
man,
funny.
this is really gonna be deep.
Wow.
And so she picked him,
Wow.
and she started reading him like a book.
Wow.
And his father came through.
Yes.
And it goes,
Yes.
what I'm trying to say, it goes to the personality.
Right?
It was definitely his father's personality.
Personality.
And it had everybody laughing in the group.
Right, he was probably
Because
a funny
she
guy.
was like from England, and
Right.
you know, she was bouncing around like Eddie.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
funny thing was this other, I don't know what you call it, personality came through. They were like pushing each other out of the way to talk.
Yeah. Right. Sometimes they try
And
to
this
do
other
that.
personality came through, and this personality gave my husband advice, but he was like a boxer. Like, what the heck is this?
How funny is that?
So, you know, it was a mind blower. And then on the way home, I said, who was that guy?
Yeah.
And he told me, and it was true.
Wow.
I remember the guy.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, that's really something. So they're funny, you know, even the skeptics.
Even the skeptics, right, and he was a skeptic.
I was like, I thought, and then, not really, but I was jealous because it was him, not me. Not really, but yeah, it was like so close.
But doesn't that make sense they came to him because he was a skeptic? They're like, well,
Maybe
okay,
so.
we're going to talk to you.
It was so funny
Yeah.
though. And he never did reject that. I mean, he
believed
accepted
it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it was his father's
I mean, especially with that
personality.
boxer.
And
I
the
was like,
boxer, right? Yeah, yeah.
that was
It's
so
true.
funny. Yeah.
You know, you make an excellent point that I do want to bring up too, is today, something made you come here today. Something made you come here today.
Yes.
Right,
Yes,
something.
no, you're right. You're
Right?
absolutely right.
Something, because I've heard plenty of stories of, well, I wasn't going to come today and then I showed up, because I do readings at different places, too. They're like, yeah, I was going to go out to lunch, but something made me just come in and get a reading, So a lot of times what I feel, and this is just a possibility, is I feel your loved ones bring you. They bring you. Because they want to, I'll say talk, but it's send messages and then I give you the messages. They are the ones I feel are responsible for actually bringing people to me. Even though you think, oh yeah, I want to go for a reading. Well, I think your loved ones kind of either planting that thought in there or kind of guiding you, because then they want to connect with you. So that's an excellent point. I feel maybe, let's just say, maybe his dad really wanted to connect with him.
Right? But
His dad kind of wants to connect connect with him and give him, a few messages.
Yeah.
And I see a
Oh, well,
lot
then-
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to take the ball this
No,
time,
we
but
love this.
there was
I love the
another
stories.
time my ex and I were, it's a different setting, and my aunt came through. She was my grand aunt, but she really wasn't, well, she was like, what would you call it, like an extended bloodline.
Right.
She wasn't like my,
Like an actual aunt, right?
And she came through and she said in public,
Yeah.
she says, he's not that bad. I was like, oh my God. And that was her personality
Oh,
too.
how funny.
She was like, he's not that bad.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And we were having some difficulties.
Right. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so that was a message.
Yeah, oh, definitely. They give messages, they give funny messages. I put some more in the book. Some things are just like hysterical what they come out. And some things you even want to blush a little bit with some things that come through. But that could have been their personality. You know what I mean? mean? And it was a personality and saying things that would kind of make you blush, and it doesn't stop them. They're still, having a personality and things come through. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Question. So you mentioned earlier about how, like, say your mom would have a good, like, idea of when you see somebody, oh, watch out for this person.
Oh,
this
she was
person's
great
not-
at that.
That ability to kind of, like, I guess, get a person's aura.
Oh,
right.
definitely. Some people, right, are great at picking up
Yeah.
energies
Mhm.
of other people, because we do have energy and aura around us, and some people are really good, at picking that
Now,
up.
can you see? Is it possible to see the aura of the
I
person
don't.
coming through?
Yes, I personally don't.
Oh, you know. Okay.
But no, I don't. But there are other people that can see, like a color. Auras have colors as well. You might be blue today,
Yeah.
or green, or pink, or yellow. Or
Well,
different
what about the
colors.
personality coming through?
The personality?
Because one of the personality is the person you're dealing with was a very manipulative person that
Ooh.
is, may not have your best interests at heart because of other things,
So guess what I do? Every single time I read for people,
Yeah.
I have the prayers. I say those prayers. So say if they're, trying to do a little,
Like an insurance policy for you.
yeah, I'm like, well, I'm saying prayers. I say before I do a reading, I say my own set of prayers just for myself.
Mhm.
And then when I'm doing a reading, if I'm doing a reading for you, we say prayers together as well.
The prayers
I
ward
have-
off like the negative
And
personality.
the protection, because if anyone is interested in learning about tarot cards or mediumship, and I actually teach a beginner's tarot card class,
Mhm.
I say protection. You have to protect yourself every single time because you're opening yourself up. You don't know exactly what may come through,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to protect yourself by saying these certain prayers, and that's what I do. I know other psychics do that as well, not everybody, but if I'm teaching, it's a must.
Right.
It's a must. You have to protect yourself. Yeah, definitely.
Is there a dark side to this?
I
Is
feel
there,
there
like,
can be.
Are there
I feel-
Sith lords of mediumship out there?
No, I feel there can, because if you open up,
Mhm.
you don't know. And just think about it. Maybe it's not like a dark, but just think about how some people have very negative energy. Let's call it that. Let's call it negative energy,
Mhm.
right? And that can be, a little bit overpowering. So you want to protect yourself, from that as well. But yeah, some people are, I hate to say this, but there are some people that are just evil. Right? We can think back in history.
Sure.
There's some people that are
Yeah.
just evil,
Mhm.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they don't even have to only be in history. They walk among us too. They're just evil people.
Right.
Right? So if they pass, well, maybe they've definitely, gone to the light and, changed their ways, but they might be stuck. Some people are stuck too. Don't go to the light and they still keep that. Yes.
Have you had a chance to travel to see different cultures, how psychics are in different
No,
cultures?
I hadn't, but I would love to.
I was just watching a
absolutely-
show and they were doing like tea readings, tea leaf readings.
Well, my
Oh,
grandmother
nice.
did tea. Yeah,
Okay.
she read tea leaves, my grandmother. I haven't tried to. I picked up tarot, came very easily to me. And the mediumship, then came easily. I kind of briefly looked at tea leaves, but I guess if I really tried, maybe I could, because it's basically tea leaves, tarot cards, they're tools, right? If you took away my tarot cards, I could definitely sit and I could read for you, just because I'll get the thoughts, I'll do that. Yes, tarot cards are nice. It's a little bit easier to see the pictures and, things pop in my head, but I can just probably read for you. And then mediumship, I don't use anything. I'm just getting the thoughts and then I just type them, so I don't use a tool. Although, when I read tarot cards, sometimes, I'll say the spirit will come through, and they'll come through in the tarot card. And then they'll want to give their messages, that way. Because I do a combination reading where I do 30 minutes of medium and then 30 minutes of tarot. So say mom was here, giving messages here, and she doesn't want to leave, so she'll pop in through the tarot cards and she'll still stay, and, and things like that. And then, there's a variety of people that can come in. I might have just one spirit that comes through the whole entire time, or I could have several. And it's never in my control. It's up to them if they want to connect with me. I can ask, If you say, gee, my brother passed away, do you think you could connect with my brother? I can try and see if he comes in, but if he's not coming in, then I'm not getting anything.
Dying to get my grandfather's recipe.
I know. We have a couple recipes that we'd love to get from my mother that we can't find. You know, but so far, yeah, she hasn't come in to
But
give
don't they still have their choice. You may connect with her,
right.
and she may not want to give you the recipe. Not want,
Correct.
not
No,
want,
that's
but
right.
that may
You
not
can
be
ask.
of interest to her.
Right, and she might be,
I'm not
sorry.
saying,
No,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
It's up to them
Right.
yeah.
what they want to bring forth.
Right.
You can ask,
Mhm.
and I'll, I have people that will ask a question. They'll say, okay, let me type the question and I'll see if they'll answer. Most of the time they will answer, but sometimes they just will not. Because maybe it's just, no, right? Or maybe that answer isn't meant for you to hear now, or for whatever reason, not meant for you to hear. Right, and that comes up too. So, right, I really don't have control. And how I start is I don't ask you who you want to hear from. I will just start with, well, who am I getting? Who am I getting? And I'll just go. I don't ask you. But then maybe later on, you're just, oh, gee, I really want to connect with my mother. Can you see if my mother's here? Okay. Let's see. Is mom here? Yep. Or sometimes, no, I'm sorry. I don't get mom. And every once in a great while, I just can't read for somebody. Nobody's here. If no one's here,
Right.
I can't tell you anything. It's like, right? Phyllis cannot make this stuff up. If somebody's here, okay. But every once in a while, nobody shows up.
I have one more.
Sure,
story.
yeah, we love these stories, right, ladies? We love this.
This is a whole nother medium,
Yeah.
a whole nother encounter.
Okay.
And it was more of a, what can I say? These people were really, for lack of a better word, they were like really professional. They had, like you, Phyllis,
Yeah.
it'd be a group of people of
right.
your
Okay.
experience. Let's put it
Experience.
that
We
way.
have experience, right.
And somehow, and so I guess I was there as a student. So they were talking, this goes back to what you were saying. This guy, one of the facilitators,
Right.
he was saying how it goes back to blessing yourself or praying
Yes.
or protection.
Yes.
We're talking about protection.
Definitely.
And it's funny, but it's not funny. So he was going around, and it wasn't religious in the sense of laying hands,
Mhm.
but this person, he read this person to go to. And the moment he touched the person, the person just like started going off. You know, it was like.
Like how?
Like possessed? Like
Not
Yeah, like, what
possessed,
was the-
but it was like really negative.
Oh, very negative.
It was very negative. And the point was that you, being a professional, you even have to really judge your instincts.
Oh, yeah.
Because this guy on a regular level, like right here, was having trouble.
Right.
You could kind of see,
Yeah.
through his body movements or whatever. He was unsettled.
Right.
But because of that situation, Lou went on to work with him. And the guy was like, I don't want you, or,
Wow.
get away from me.
Yeah.
That was it. It was like,
Yeah.
this was wrong. I mean, not wrong, incorrect.
Right.
So it really goes back to the person. Maybe it's
Yeah,
just
that's
the manipulative person here on earth.
Oh, yeah.
And it's,
Actually, that's leading to another question.
and
I
you're
just
not
had.
gonna be able to read them or help them because they don't want that.
That's an excellent point, and hold your thought.
Yep.
I've had a couple, and I do write about it in the book, where she just
Although they
almost,
come.
like I had people for her, but she just, I don't know, was kind of angry, about it and wasn't like accepting and, at one point I had to stop it. I just had to stop because she just, was very angry, about it. So you encounter different personalities and you have to gauge it. And then also, when you're telling or you're giving messages, you have to be very tactful too with some of the messages. You really do. So you have people who I'm reading, every once in a while I get somebody who's tough to deal with. Yeah, unhappy, maybe they don't like the message that's coming through, maybe they wanted something else to be the message, but I can only give what I get.
But the protection is what protects you.
Yes.
I mean, that's the, you don't take it personally, that kind of thing. It's like, next.
Yes, okay, but although sometimes it's a little hard for me, because I always want to help people. I'm just that type of personality, like, oh, why couldn't I help that person,
Sure.
But I have to kind of step back, and some people don't want the help, actually. I have to accept that, that's all. Through experience, you learn.
What was your question?
Yes, Liz, yeah.
Two quick ones. One is,
Yeah.
just to be clear,
Yeah.
this is not reading the future. This is not what that is about, really. Not so
You
much.
mean mediumship or tarot cards?
I guess either.
Tarot cards, a lot of things come up about the future.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
But I have to say, mediumship, right? First they'll come through and validate who they are,
Mhm.
but a lot of times they will tell you some things that will come out. I've had people, spirits say, there's gonna be a baby coming. That's the future.
Mm.
They will give messages, yes, they
Oh,
will.
okay,
They
okay.
will give messages about the future. Why? Because they see it.
Mm.
And at that point, maybe you're meant to hear that. That
Okay.
definitely comes through as well.
Have you had any surprises? Like, have you ever been surprised by?
Lots of surprises,
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, lots, about different things that, would come up. But what I love is when people come back and will email me, because I'll read for you, and there'll be things about the future. But I won't know. Did it actually come out for you or not? I won't know that. Right?
Yeah, until you.
So when, and I've had several, clients come back, you told me about that new job or whatever, and I actually did get it. That's validation for me, so that's wonderful. That helps me, yeah. But yeah, they do talk about the
Okay.
future
Yeah,
definitely as
to
well.
add to Lou's question, what is a fortune teller?
Okay, my grandmother was a fortune teller. Why was she a fortune teller? Because they called them fortune tellers. Now, they're calling them psychics or mediums. Okay,
So it's the same thing.
a fortune
only-
teller is an older word, I'll say. It's an older word, right? Fortune teller, one who can tell the future. They were more known for telling the future, right? Tarot cards are more known for future, more specifically for future. Right? But now the word psychic came into, right? You know how there used to be like old words that just aren't, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, old words.
Like a seance.
No, an old word that would mean something, say in the 1930s, but we don't use that word anymore today.
They're replaced with a different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that. Fortune teller was the word to use about someone who could tell the future.
But it's changed.
Like shell shock back in World War I's have PTSD today.
Oh, right,
Right.
Thank you. That's thank you.
Right, that's excellent.
That's an
Terminology.
excellent example.
Mm-hmm.
We called it shell shock back then. Now we call it PTSD, right? So we used to call it fortune teller back in the day, but now we're calling it psychic. But with that point, psychic, intuitive abilities, right? A medium is a psychic and a medium. A medium, you can connect with people who have passed away. A psychic, if I'm only reading tarot cards, I'm just a psychic, is not a medium. But a medium is definitely a psychic and a medium. You can do both, but not the other. A tarot card reader might not necessarily be a medium. Follow? They might not be able to connect with people who passed away. They're just reading, future or a medium and do that. And
I know, I'm dating myself, and you go to amusement parks
Right.
or boardwalk, let's say in Asbury, and there
Yes,
would be a
right.
fortune teller.
Madam so-and-so, I don't know, yes.
Madam Marie.
Madam Marie, right. I know, I was just in Asbury last night, and they were like, oh, there's Madam Marie. You can, right, a fortune teller really is the same as psychic, it's just an older word, but it is, means the same.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
What this question reminded me of that.
Yeah,
When I've been back to Belmar, well, I've been back to New Jersey like maybe 6 years ago. And like I said, I've been in this interest for a long time. So I was at Seaside Heights.
Oh, okay.
You could get like a reading for $10 or
Right.
something.
Right.
So I was like, hey, what the heck? I'll do it. Not really expecting anything. This lady was good.
Sometimes they are.
So make a look
Right.
going back to
They
how
are.
you started off.
Right.
Oh, she wrote the notes down, so I had the notes
Okay.
and like her phone number.
Right.
So I called her back like maybe 6 months later.
Later.
She didn't know who I was,
Right.
what I was talking about, and that made me so happy because she had forgotten about
Yeah.
everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was no longer of interest. It's a job. But I mean,
Yeah.
it was accurate. Her information was accurate,
Right.
but she had completely,
Right.
like, who the heck are you calling me asking me about your grandma? I mean, it wasn't
Right.
like that, but I
Right.
was very happy that she didn't instantly recognize me or anything about that reading.
Right.
She was just like, I have other things to do besides remember everyone that comes to me.
That's 100%. Thank you for
so
coming.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
But
placed
let
my
me-
order with Louis.
Oh, thank you. Let me speak to that. I don't remember every single person's reading. I read too many people and I can't remember. There are certain people something might jog my memory, or they come to me different times, and so I might remember them. But I agree, I can't remember everything. So it's not like, we do. A lot of times it'll kind of just go, and it just goes. But the one thing I do have is, when I do mediumship and I'm typing, I save everything. I have all the readings here, so if you call me, and say, oh gee, do you still have my reading or whatever, I'll have it. But if you call me and say, oh, I want another reading, you read me a year ago, I honestly do not go back and look at what I wrote. I don't. I'm gonna start fresh and, read for you. But I totally am with her. I don't remember. Most of the time, I don't remember what I said. It kind of goes and then it flows out,
That makes sense.
but it doesn't,
Sure.
makes sense. But I do have the mediums, the copies, if you want it from there, I can get it, but I don't go back and read, oh gee, I'm gonna read for, Connie, let me see what I typed last, no, I'm just gonna start fresh with you and see what happens, And yes, maybe your mother might come through again, but I don't always remember, oh, your mother came, oh no, don't you remember, my mother came through last time, no, sorry, I don't remember that, she came through the last time, but she is, coming again, so, but to me, I feel it kind of validates us.
Is there a way, if you're walking down the street or down the boardwalk, and
Yes.
there's a medium, tell your fortune, all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Is there a way, anything that we as a consumer of this
Oh, right,
can
yes.
look into, say, whether, is
Oh.
this person really who they say they are?
I love that question, because I want to really warn everyone, and this really upsets me. And I won't say, where they are, but there is a reader, and she's done this to a couple of people that I know. You will go in and get a reading, and then she says, you have like a black cloud over you. If you pay me $100, I'll get rid of it for you. Never, ever, ever do that and never go back. Because the sad part is, they're looking for ways to get money.
Right.
And the sad part is, she wasn't even that bad. You know what I mean? She wasn't like a complete phony. Her reading somewhat made sense, but what is she doing? She's trying to get money from you, and then it's like, well, yeah, and then come back another time and I'll give you another, like, potion. Don't, please, please, please don't fall for that. A couple of my friends, people are, sometimes people are desperate, sometimes people are in a vulnerable way, you know, and they'll fall for that. Here's another good point too, is a while ago there was a show on called The Con. It was narrated by Whoopi Goldberg, and one of the episodes was on psychics. It broke my heart to see this one poor woman. She was going through all these issues. She spent over $17,000.
Oh my God.
And you think, how could she, but you know,
Vulnerable.
sometimes you're just so vulnerable, and maybe they're kind of convincing, and you just fall for it. They had 3 different people on, 3 different ladies that fell for these different cons. And this one man who was a detective, they had contacted this detective, and he was great. He, figured out all these things, and he got, their money back. But how sad is that?
Yeah.
My heart goes out to those people because they're vulnerable, and they'll just go, along with it. And it's, these people prey on other people. It's so wrong. And the bad part too is now, if you have someone who is genuine, who has abilities, who truly does want to help, right? Like me,
Right.
now some people in their minds, well, they're all scammers. They're all phonies. They're all, it's a blanket statement. And it's not true. Just like in any profession, you're going to have people who just, a doctor, he's a quack, or whatever. In any profession, you're going to have people that kind of do things like that. But then there are other people that are just so dedicated and good and so on. So in every profession. But it just seems here in this profession, it just seems to get more bad PR, or, for whatever, reason. But that's the thing. So if you go to people, maybe try to read up on them. The best thing that I get is word of mouth. I get most of my business through word of mouth. I am on Instagram and I'll post here and there, but think about it. I used to do that. My sister would go to somebody, hey, we're gonna go to this person, right? A friend of mine, oh, I went to her, you gotta go to her, she's great. Because they've been, right? And they know what it's like, so it's more reliable to, go through somebody that, recommends. Yeah. But please be so careful out there. If they start asking you for extra money for this or that, run.
Yeah.
Don't do it. You pay for your reading, yes, just like anybody. You go and you buy something, you pay for it. Okay, done. Don't start paying all these extras for things you're taking advantage, and it's sad. Yeah, it really is. Thank you, for bringing that up.
Just one more.
Oh, sure.
Can't,
Whatever. We're fine.
Nancy mentioned a seance. Who conducts them?
Actually, I know 2 women that do seances, and I was a little afraid, because when I connect, I'm getting thoughts. But in a seance, these 2 particular ladies, you sit around a table, okay, and they'll connect, but the energy of the person does actually move the table. The table actually does move. They somehow can, deal with the energy, where the energy moves. But be careful of that. Some people, again, are good at what they do, and it's saying kind of like what I do, but they're using the table or, to move things around. But then other people are just scamming. But seances are right to bring people in, but also use the table energy to move things. When I was sitting there, I think I asked about, someone passed, and I couldn't believe my eyes, but the table seemed to move like toward me, so it's kind of amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Thanks. Any other questions? No? Well, I thank each and every one of you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
You're
really
excellent.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
So now if anyone would,
Yeah.
like a book, I will sign it. and I will answer one question and two.
She does Venmo also.
Right, thank you.
All right,
And thank you,
as
thank
far-
you for having me, I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's
Thank
our
you so
pleasure
much.
to have, it's
Yeah,
our pleasure to
thank you.
have Phyllis over here. Thank you again for coming. Thank you
Yeah, thank you.
everybody for watching
Yeah,
online.
thank you.
If you are interested in her book and you are not here to get it yourself, you can go and get her book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. We do have copies here at the library for you to check out as well. So come and check it out. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Oh,
Thank
thank you so
you.
much, take care now.
Thank you.
Thank you.